everyone for joining us for this panel discussion with Naveena and their supply partners to discuss their latest collection, Holistic Denim. My name is Mary Bruno, and I'm the owner and creator of Life After Death Denim. I have a long history in this industry and have worked for some of America's best denim brands, Levi Strauss, Earl Jean, Ralph Lauren, and all the denim brands at Ralph Lauren, J Brand, and Gap. In 2016, I really started digging into sustainability. I was looking for an opportunity, and at the time, California was going through a very serious drought. I had an idea of how we could develop washes that used a lot less water. And what my plan was to consult for other denim brands and help them be more sustainable. As I continued researching that idea, I felt like there was really more to being sustainable than just using less water and less chemicals in washes. And I started thinking about all the fibers we use, the dyes we use, how the fabrics are made, all the trims we use, the packaging, methods of shipping, and it was much more robust than just focusing on wash. I thought what I should do is kind of put my theory to the test and see, can I come up with a truly sustainable jean that encompasses fabrics made with sustainable and recycled yarns? Can I eliminate all chemicals from the wash? Can I use as little water as possible? So my first stop was Kingpins, and I went to look for fabrics that had components that were either recycled or sustainable. And shockingly, I couldn't find anything at the show. I walked around and I could find information about great fibers and information about up-and-coming dyes, but I couldn't find anything together. Eventually, I did end up finding something out of the show, and I went and developed jeans and had them washed and eliminated all the chemicals and used as little water as possible. And it was actually very simple. It only took 3 tries. And then once I had all that, I felt like I had a great idea for a brand, which is why I started Life After Death Denim. I feel like brands have so many messages they're trying to communicate to consumers that you can't just add sustainability on and expect it to resonate with them. And in order for a brand to be successful, I felt like it needed to be baked into the DNA of a brand's. So that's how Life After Death Denim was born. You know, when I think about our industry and how we have evolved over the last 4 years, I'm thrilled with the progress that we've made. I'm proud to be part of an industry that really wanted to start a sustainability revolution. And I really feel like it started with the fiber companies, the dyeing companies, and the denim mills. So I'm very excited to be here today with Naveena and some of their key supply partners talking about their latest denim collection called Holistic Denim, their most sustainable collection yet. And joining me in the conversation are some of the most respected leaders in the industry: Tricia Carey of Lenzing, Alex Penades from Jeanologia, Ertugrul. Ertugrul. I said that wrong. I practice and I just screwed it up. From Prosser Chemical Company, and he'll tell you a little bit about what they do. And then representatives from Naveena, Berke, Aydemir, who is the Global Sales and Marketing Manager, and Aydan Tuzun, who's the Executive Director of Global Sales and Marketing. As a designer, I measure the value of design by 3 things. First and foremost, function. Whatever you design, it needs to do what it's supposed to do. It has to perform and deliver the intent you had in mind. The fabric you choose for a jean is literally the most important decision you make as a denim designer. Second, quality. it really needs to last. And what better way is there to be sustainable than to design something quality that it doesn't need to be replaced within a year. And then lastly, it really is about style. You want to, as a designer, I want to create something that makes customers feel great. When you want to create pieces of clothing that help people say what they want to say about themselves to the world. So sustainability it's critical to our industry and it's critical to our future, but nobody wants to sacrifice style for sustainability. So enough of me yammering on. With that, I want to start directing questions to our illustrious panel, starting with Aydan, who is the Executive Director of Global Sales and Marketing. Hello, Aydan. My first question for you is, what is holistic denim and what was the starting point of the collection?
Thank you all for being here with us. So we are very excited to, in a sense, revitalize the definition of holistic and apply it to our new product category. Holistic denim is a mix of sustainable fibers and sustainable processes, taking into account as many factors as possible in the design process, such as the market demand, technological abilities of today, consumer trends, and brand attitudes. So with COVID-19 pandemic, we revisited our contribution to solutions and bringing measured value and style to design while creating a cleaner industry. In a nutshell, holistic denim is about amplifying our positive impact. This is, of course, something that we always look and work for. But today we have come to a point where we are convinced that we really need to find ways of amplifying our impact in the sense that it needs to get real. So we took into account many aspects and wanted to bridge the gap between design and experience. And we couldn't do it without our key partners that we have here on the panel today and more. And as Naveena, we chose the word holistic for the new product line and invited our partners to discuss this concept further. We will dig into the different elements, how they come together holistically, and how sustainability can meet our present and changing needs without sacrificing style. The sustainable fibers that we are using in the composition of holistic denim fabrics are organic cotton, post-consumer waste cotton, hemp, tencel, refibra, cyclo, and roika. And in addition to sustainable fibers, we are also using our most sustainable dyeing and finishing processes combination, which is Naveena's Horizon process. In sum, we have pictured how our product fit into the wider consumer, brand, manufacturer world and designed our collection accordingly.
Thank you very much, Aydan. Let's talk to Tricia. Hi, Tricia. This is, you're of course one of a major supplier of sustainable fibers and have been a leader in the sustainable message with a long history of R&D. How do you see your role in this holistic story?
It's wonderful to have the chance to talk about this, and it was great to hear Aydan talk about all the fibers that are being used that have, a lower environmental footprint. It's almost like going to the farmer's market and making the best dinner possible. For Lenzing, we are steeped in environmental responsibility, and we focus around providing a product that is derived from nature. Our fibers come from trees, so we use wood and we process that into making the tensile lyocell fiber. The holistic denim collection also utilizes our refibra technology, which is where we upcycle cotton waste in order to make a new tensile lyocell fiber. And I feel that, when you were talking, Mary, in the beginning about what makes great designs and starting with, wonderful fabrics, it's also about, what those fabrics are made of. And in holistic, it's not only how it feels, but next to your skin, but that it feels right for the environment, and also is something that, when you wear it, it gives you joy. And I think that holistic mind-body, the connection, and having a lower impact on the planet is so important. And when we look at the changes that the consumer has in their lifestyle dressing.
And then what does Tencel bring? I mean, I'm very, familiar with Tencel, but what does Tencel bring to the holistic story?
So Tencel brings the fact that it's coming from nature, so a renewable resource coming from trees. It also brings a softness to that comfort element that everyone's looking for as they, adapt to new ways of working and different changes in their own lifestyle. And it also brings a strength to the fabric. And that's really important when you look at different treatments that need to be done to the garments. It's also a fiber that blends well and works well with other fibers. So when Aydan was talking about all the mixes of different fibers that are being used, it works well when blended with whether it's organic cotton, or if you're blending it with any other spandex or the Ciclo polyester that you're using.
Great. Just a couple more questions. What are your thoughts about the benefits of a holistic approach in our industry? And what do you see as the next for Lenzing in the sustainability movement?
I think the holistic approach is the right way to take it, especially now. We've had this pandemic pause. Everyone's had a different consideration on their life, the interdependentness that we have in the world. And so holistic, I think, represents that pause that we've gone through, this chance to reflect on, what do we really need in life? And to bring those values into everything that we're a part of, including what we're wearing. You want to have an outfit that represents you. And so I feel like at this time, the holistic denim collection brings together the best of what we're working for. And we're in this decade of action to build back better, build back greener. And this is where holistic denim is a part of that.
And what's next on the horizon for Lenzing?
Oh, for Lenzing. Well, we have
you can share
some things that we can share. Well, next year we're hoping for some new ideas to come to market. We continue with I call them conscious collaborations like this, where it's like-minded companies that are after a similar goal. We will continue with a lot of our conversations with the denim community that we've had and many of you have been a part of through Carved in Blue. And we're starting with a new series that we're calling Live and Learn, because we feel it's very important that as people now have limitations on travel, we still need to discover new things. We still need to experience it. And that's where we're connecting them with people around the world with live conversations to be able to experience more of what's happening. But yeah, at Lenzing, we just launched a new fiber that addresses climate action called True Carbon Zero. So you'll be hearing more about that in the coming months.
Okay.
And we also will continue with our Refibra technology innovation and adding more partners here.
Thank you very much, Tricia. Next, I'm going to direct my questions to Alex Penades, who works with Jeanologia. Jeanologia, if you don't know about them, are leaders in the technology and the advancements of sustainability. Can you tell us about G2 equipment and how this and other technologies are changing the way we process denim?
Thank you, Mary. Yes, well, G2 is being a technology that we've been developing for the past 20 years. And one of the questions that we put to ourselves at a certain point is why we're using G2 ozone on garments. Why don't we just step back to the origin of everything, which is fabric? Well, actually Tricia's fiber, but back to the first stage, right? And let's see what it gives. So we're researchers. We kind of pretty much focused on the what if situation. What if we do this? What if we do that? And that was a little bit the story of G2. We expected it to be kind of a tool for other industries, as it is probably going to be in the near future. but it actually gave many good results that we couldn't even expect when we started to do dynamic for fabric. And it gives properties to the fabric that then afterwards, when you wash them as a garment, it really shows at the end. So, but having said this, it cuts off many of the processes that require water, that require extra chemicals, that require extra energy, adding up, so many benefits in terms of sustainability and sustainable processes. So that's a little bit the short
Great.
story of it.
How do you qualify your design approach? And how do you manage the interconnected factors with other mills and brands and manufacturers?
Okay, this, it dates back from the time when we started as consultants, as denim consultants. We started as a service-oriented company. So that means that we are pretty used to listen to our customers, to see what or hear or listen to what their pains are, what we can do to just minimize those pains, and therefore, there's a complete kind of a process of nowadays we call it design thinking, but it was back then was listening to your consumer, to your user, to your operator, and then try to implement things that would just make their lives easier. So a lot of iterative activities, a lot of prototyping, a lot of field tests before launching, a lot of denim centric, product centric. You remember you just mentioned it about how the product has to be functional for sure. That's the first requirement. Then it has to last, but then it has to look good. So one of the problems or the obstacles that we just faced by that back then was how to achieve the same looks, doing it in a non-sustainable way, but then doing it now with a sustainable way. So we had to be very design centric. We had to really work together with designers, try to find, you've been there too, Mary, as a part of it.
Amazing.
Tricia as well, you guys at Naveena as well. So we've been teaming up, and that's been a little bit of the approach, just to listen to each other, see what the needs were, see what the needs are in the future, and work together as a team. I think that's the beauty of it. Now everyone talks about collaboration, but I think you guys and us, we've been there for a long, long time already.
Thank you. Is that how you came up with G2? Was that part of the design thinking that you were referencing, and how that came to evolve?
We were just trying to figure out how to have a bigger impact in the industry. So, when you're at the last stage of the process, almost before packaging, as you just mentioned,
Right.
So it's that, or transportation. So what do you do if we have to have a big impact? We probably have to be before this stage. So, we started with lasers on fabric. We started with ozone on fabrics. And then we just basically tried, our engineers didn't know how to make a fabric machine back then. And then they just, kind of squeezed their brains just to figure out, how everything was working. Well, we have pretty good textile engineers for sure. And trying and making mistakes, we just got to the point where we figured, okay, this is not only for fading down shades and color and denim, but it also, it seemed like miraculously it just improved crocking, and then afterwards it improved, the way you could kind of decides the fabric, and then it actually, you know, saved up water and chemicals at different stages, at different bath stages. So, you know, this has been something that's been building up together with you guys, and as a, you know, it's pretty amazing that now we have this technology, but you know, you have to see and know and remember where you come from, which is a very, you know, kind of a, you know, very tiny and very humble and very simplistic situation that's being, you know, evolving together with a team like you. So thanks to the ones who've been there.
And what about Jeanologia? What's next on their agenda in terms of sustainability?
Well, yes.
I mean, I'm sure there's a million things.
There's a million things, Mary. Yes, indeed. As I said, one of the things that we have to, you know, we've been there for a long time, but we have to learn to more to listen what the final consumer wants, to listen to what the fiber supplier needs, to listen to what the designer wants, and the males, and so therefore one, to be a better listener, discover again the, you know, rediscover the problems and pains of the new industry, to find the motivations and insights of all the people that compose our industry, less selling probably, and more empathy and respect and trust creation, preaching with the example, and then, you know, create this kind of a circuit of continuous feedback, of information that between the, you know, brands and the industry, and therefore, you know, this is as I say, this is a long distance run, so we have to be patient and persistent, and then yes, there's new business models that we are, you know, creating together. There's a lot of re-engineering the product, as we've known it so far, to re-engineer processes. You know, this is a very interesting model with a lot of opportunities. We have to educate, and re-educate us as a community. And let's imagine, it's wow, so many, my agenda, and I believe that your agendas are just filled up with plenty of things to do.
Right. And how do you see the mills and designers communicating your message, from a sustainability perspective?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I wholly agree with you 100% on the fact that sustainability is not only about washes, okay, and of course we all know that, okay, it's obvious, but you know, for us, you know, we have to start from some sort of variables to control, you know, and for us it's very easy to or it's, at least we feel very comfortable talking about water consumption, talking about chemical impact, talking about energy consumption and labor health and conditions, and now also very important about carbon footprint. Okay, so we have to establish that common language on which us, from this precise very precise position of ours as finishing experts and technology experts for finishing, how to work together and kind of help designers and mills to control and diminish and eliminate that footprint that we as an industry are having in the environment, so, and on people. So basically our job will be to put that language together, so the key indicators are the same, at least for those variables, that designers and engineers talk the same language and therefore work together, and we're able then by the technologies to empower all of them and make them more, you know, just to go the extra mile that the industry needs. So yeah, I mean, a lot of work.
Yes, it's a lot of work. And I think, you know, how we communicate what we did and what we are doing going forward to consumers is really important, because they need to know. It's too complicated to explain to them all the changes what we're making and why it's good when they didn't even know we were doing things bad in the beginning, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
they are the key. I mean, brands and consumers are the key. Brands have to be honest and responsible, and consumers as well. I mean, one has to know that behind a $10 pair of jeans, there's something that doesn't go right.
Yes, very true. Well, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Next, I would like to speak with Ertugrul.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? And he works with Prosser, which is a developer of Naveena's Aqualter waterless indigo dyeing process. Can you tell us a little bit about that process and how it differs compared to conventional indigo dyeing?
Okay, thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Indigo and sulfur dyeing systems in water-based application beds are playing major roles in order to achieve all those fantastic, trendy, superficial wash-on effects. And we can consider indigo and sulfur dyeing processes of warp yarn in 3 steps. First step is pretreatment and rinsing dips after pretreatment. Second one is indigo or sulfur dyeing dips, and then subsequent rinsing dips after dyeing. Conventional and aqualter process can be compared with the change in these 3 steps. Aqualter process removes all water wasting pretreatment and after treatment steps by using 2 main chemicals. One chemical is applied in the beginning instead of caustification, and it removes all water wasting rinsing dips after of conventional pretreatment process. The second one is another polymer-based chemical is applied after indigo dyeing, and this polymer makes a long chain between the indigo or sulfur dye molecules and cellulose, and fixing all the dye stuff to cellulose fiber. And this polymer application guarantees the expected fastness properties and superficial dyeing characteristic of color. Of course, we prefer using clean and eco-friendly chemicals for these processes. Most of dyeing process we don't touch, just we prefer using clean chemicals in dyeing process. Comparing to conventional one, along whole aqualter dyeing process, yarn passes less number of dips, less pressure, less air passage, and less tension, less stress applied on warp yarn. It enables the dyer to keep cotton or cellulose yarn at its original elasticity, softness, and with high strength, which are very important performance parameters for the final fabric, denim fabric. If you compare the water consumption numbers between the conventional and aqualter process, maybe the numbers can vary from color to color, but minimum 25 liters or 30 liters of water consumption is possible per meters of denim fabric.
So I have a question. So does the chemical you use sort of prepare the yarn to
in
kind of like accept the dye in a better way that uses less water? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. in conventional system, normally in the pretreatment step, caustic is used. This is sodium hydroxide.
Mhm.
So after caustification, you need to remove the residual of this sodium hydroxide, and you need plenty of water to get rid of
Got it.
before indigo dyeing. And after indigo dyeing, regarding conventional dyeing system, you need to get rid of unfixed dye stuffs by repeated rinsing baths. So all those rinsing dips contaminating the fresh, clean water. And this contaminated water is released to the nature or wastewater treatment sections of the factories. So with this pretreatment, special pretreatment and after treatment applications at our system Aqualter process, we almost save 99% of the water.
Great. Does the Aqualter process change the shade of indigo at all or affect it in any way?
Considering a certain dyeing recipe, final color difference between conventional dyed one and Aqualter dyed one, there might be slight difference in strength of final color. It depends on, of course, the conventional process, the pretreatment recipe, how much you wash after indigo dyeing or sulfur dyeing. But in most cases, we can catch very similar colors in the final fabric, but also regarding the effects and colors after garment finishing, we are very close to the conventional one. So in most cases, we do not see major difference between two dyeing systems.
Is there anything that is sacrificed in this process in terms of look or feel or?
Of course, when we develop this process, the main target was not to sacrifice or not to make any compromise from final superficial and fashion effects. So I can say all the fantastic trend effects, fastness properties, etc., can be achieved with Aqualter process.
And how long has this Aqualter process been in development?
For last, I think Berke remembers better than me, but I think for last 2 to 3 years, Berke, we have been working on this project.
Yeah, more than 3 years, I think.
Yes, but the story of this chemistry is maybe I can tell 10 years, more than 10 years. We are working with one. I must also pronounce his name. Maybe Alex already knows about Mr. Jeanologia. He is our consultant and partner from Spain. He has been working more than 10 years on this chemistry, and I can tell it's going well. I am wishing good luck with the Aqualter process. Also to Naveena.
Thank you very much. And Berke, who is with Naveena's team, can you share with us how Naveena is using advancements in stretch and polyester techniques?
Sure, thank you, Mary. We are actually using cyclo and the Roika fibers to be achieved as a sustainable stretch fabrics. And starting from cyclo, which is a technology to enable the synthetics to degrade in environment at some rates, just like the natural fibers actually, and without compromising the durability during the useful life of material. And cyclo additives just creates like millions of degradable spots in the matrix of the plastics, where the microbes or microorganisms can easily break down the materials just like they do in the natural fibers. And it is just kind of a new alternative for the virgin polyester, which can remain in the environment for hundreds of years or maybe even forever. That's why it's really important to have this technology at the moment.
Right.
And Roika It is actually cradle to cradle gold certified as well as Hohenstein environment certified stretch fiber, dedicated to sustainable stretch end uses actually. And at the end of its life, it smartly breaks down without releasing any harmful materials. And it also plays a special ingredient role for the products which are a part of the circular economy. It's a sustainable alternative for elastane at the moment. So we are also using in this fiber in our holistic denim line.
How are these fibers sustainable, and why is it important in the evolution or revolution of the denim industry? I mean, as circularity and design and end of life becomes more important.
Until these technologies are found, actually, even we can able to degrade or just recycle or just the circular economy, the natural fibers, we couldn't even just achieve anything in the synthetic side, even in the polyester side or elastane side. So which just limit our product development actually, because we could be only able to use some natural fibers like the rigid denims. So, and all the parts of the polyester that we use for strength and also performance, and all the elastane that we use for the stretch properties, we have to sacrifice to be able to get the sustainable product. But with the help of these two recent technologies, right now, we can just able to create the 100% the denim, which can be sustainable as the best materials and can be also degraded in the some certain levels in the environment. So that's a great achievement actually. So that's why we think that is the innovative part of these fibers.
That's fantastic. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about hemp, organic cotton, PCW, and can you also explain about the biodegradable and cellulosic fabrics from Naveena that we're using in their holistic denim?
These are the natural fibers that we are using in the sustainable and conscious materials. And in addition to Tencel and the Refibra, which are very well explained by Tricia, and we are using hemp, organic and PCW cotton as the conscious fibers in our holistic denim line. Hemp especially grows 2-3 times faster than cotton, and it requires 70% less water. There is no pesticides are needed, and in addition to all this, the hemp also has UV protection, moisture wicking, and also antibacterial properties. All of our hemp blended fabrics in our holistic denim line are third-party approved in antibacterial tests. And we also recently established a PCW unit in our mill. This facility helps us to get like 5 tons of PCW cotton per day, which is a great flexibility to use these conscious fibers in our like the general collection and also products as well. And in addition to all these conscious materials, we also combine them with our most sustainable process combination horizon concept by collaborating with Process Chemicals in our aquaculture process, and also as well as the Jeanologia with their G2 dynamic machine in our H2NO concept to amplify our positive impact for real.
Is there any sort of sacrifice in fit or strength or washing or long-term wearing with, you know, Roika or Ciclo?
According to our experience, there is not a major difference in durability or fit or the performance. So according to our benchmark, it shows that these are really great alternatives to the existing polyester and elastane in a sustainable way. So there is nothing to be sacrificed. There is a lot of benefits out of these fibers. So we just like to use them in our holistic denim line.
Let's see. Just thank you everyone so much for all of the answers to your questions. Just one quick question for a few different people. I'm going to start with Tricia. Do you think that the holistic approach has a new meaning for the post-COVID world?
I definitely do. I mean, during this time, we have a reflection on our values. And I think also this is a time where, especially the Gen Z, is looking at things differently, and they're making their choices with companies and really learning about how they can connect and have like-minded value systems of where they're looking to make their purchases. So I think this is an appropriate time, and we all look at things a little bit differently now.
Thank you very much. Ertugrul, what do you think about that question as well?
Let us dream that this pandemic and crisis will enable us to open our eyes and make some comparisons. Let us dream it to have opened many eyes to the need for more ethics and responsibility on the future of environment. Denim is one of the mostly consumed and fashionable clothing in the world, but also analyzed because of its environmental concerns. And it's our responsibility to minimize the impact of denim on our nature. From dyeing and finishing to the garment processing, we must question and evaluate every step of the denim production story in terms of its footprint in nature. From this perspective, let me also thank to all Naveena team, and this Naveena's Aqualter waterless indigo or sulfur dyeing process is a very important initiative and a sustainable approach for the future of denim manufacturing industry. Thank you to all.
Thank you. I know Tricia has to go, so I want to say thank you to Tricia. If you need to jump off, we understand. I just have a few more questions for everybody else. This question is for Alex. How can we, brands and designers, help influence merchandisers and ultimately our consumers to buy sustainable denim? What are the most important factors to illustrate and communicate?
Okay. Well, I think that quality is something we have to put the accent on. Quality of materials, quality of fabrics, quality in the manufacturing and finishing, and that we have to kind of talk to the merchandisers and buyers and try to, you know, work together with them a win-win situation. I think that you know, I hope that we are gonna learn from this pandemic. I really hope so.
Yeah, me too.
It's not clear, huh? Now we have a vaccine. Well, it looks like we have a vaccine, or many of them.
Yeah.
Let's see how people react once we've been all vaccinated and gotten our shots, and then let's see. We remember that we are very fragile. Let's remember that the system is very unstable.
Mm-hmm.
That we gotta create this balance together. That there's not only a win and lose situation, or a win-loss situation, sorry. We have to give them information about the responsibility they are from the brand's perspective to educate the final consumer, to give them the right product, to re-educate themselves, to, you know, kind of work together from the fiber supplier to the mill to the, you know, the designer, to the consultant, and that we all have a piece of the pie, because if we don't share it, there's no pie. So I think basically that this situation, this COVID situation, is I wouldn't define it as a bless. Not at all. We've lost friends, good friends, and many people are without a job. But I think that's giving us the opportunity to really change the system. But we have to push. I mean, this is not something that's going to be easy. This is not something that's going to be given, like that. It's we have to speak up clear and loud, and be very direct on the messages. So I hope that we all understand this responsibility and that we go forward with it.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks
And
to you.
then one last question for the amazing Naveena team, Berke and Aydan. What's the one word that describes 2020, and what's the one word that describes your intention for 2021?
I think for both of them, the most strongest word for me is adaptation. So, and we are trying to adapt to live and work in uncertainty. And this is the biggest challenge, I think, for everyone. So agility, resilience, and tolerance are more important than ever. And also we are trying to adapt to new normal, whatever is it, because we are hearing and experiencing almost daily about different visions of what the new normal will be or should be. And we are struggling to adapt to it. And as everyone said, I really hope that we all take lessons from this situation, and 2021 will be a better year for the whole world.
Thank you.
I would like to also just combine both the words together, actually, because what I feel is like 2020 is the one word that I can just think about is a big stress, actually. So the world was under a very big stress, and we all felt it in our deepest part of our souls. So earthquakes, disasters, pandemic, plane crashes, which makes the 2020 very pessimistic for us. So what I'm expecting actually is a one word for 2021 can be just like the reborn with the hope. We all need deserve a fresh start with the beginning of 2021, feel and do better for humanity, and I think as well as the industry as well.
Thank you very much. That is it for today, and I thank you everyone for your time, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the holistic collection. And thank you very much, and have a very safe 2020.